Ladies and gentlemen, take your seats.
Introducing the all-new Xbox Ion, iconic 360S styling in a sleek form factor that everyone can afford.
The council has chosen.
Now you ready to get to it?
Hey Xbox team, I don't know if you guys take feedback from your customers at this point or ever, but if you do, here goes. I am a long-term Xbox customer. I have had every generation of Xbox since they came out, which is why, if you look right here, I own 341 games digitally because I've been buying them for years. But first off, before I forget, quit naming your consoles stupid stuff. Like whoever came up with the ROG Ally, Xbox Ally X2 Extreme, whatever the heck that is, no, fire that person. Or, naming the third generation of Xbox, the Xbox One, that Xbox One S all digital, Xbox One sad, right? That whoever's coming up with these names is stupid. Name it something simple and cool and easy like Xbox Ion, so that when you see a commercial for it, you're like, hey, did you see that new cool looking Xbox that's only $200? Oh, what's it called? Oh, it's easy to remember. It's the Xbox Ion. It's not some big old long string of 10 sentences long word. For one, quit naming it stupid stuff. There you go. That's easy enough. Two, the entry level console just needs to be able to stream the games. Just make the high-end Xbox Helix or whatever you end up calling it, make the high-end console, let the developers go to town and make the games as good as they can possibly be, and then make an entry level console as cheap as you can possibly make it. I'm talking $199, $249, maybe on sale for $199 on Black Friday, to where you get a lot of impulse buys like the Nintendo Wii, right? I think a lot of the reason it was so popular and 100 million people had it is because grandma and grandpa, when they go into Walmart in November, were like, oh, $199? Sure, we'll get that for the grandkids or whatever, right? So I think you can do the same thing and boost Xbox sales a ton. I think this next generation, you could sell 100 million Xboxes. There's no reason why you guys shouldn't. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be growing Game Pass. I don't think that you should do that again, where you make an $800 or $1,000 high-end console and then try and make one for $500 or $600 that isn't as good and struggles to run stuff and all this other junk, and the developers have to mess with trying to get For instance, Baldur's Gate, where it comes out late because they're struggling to get it to run split screen on the Series S, and then you don't get the same experience across the two different consoles. It was just a whole kind of mess, I think. But anyways, we can take those lemons and make lemonade, because I think that actually gives us, this current generation, a nice low target to aim for that we can do something with for this next generation. Now, I think that most people don't realize how great, maybe later, I don't think that people realize how great the cloud streaming has gotten to where the games are actually playable for the last several years, and they're just going to continue to get better over the coming decade, to where I have a PlayStation Portal that I got that's down there in the gray case, that I was amazed at how awesome it, 99% of the time, because it's streaming only, and it looks fantastic and works great basically all the time. I used it in the hospital on the 5th floor with hospital Wi-Fi, and it streamed the games and looked great and worked great. So I mean, streaming is there. People just don't know it yet. But the new console, the entry-level console, it needs to be designed to where it can run the Xbox Series S games, run the Xbox One X games, which means it'll have to have 12 gigs of RAM, not 10, all of that stuff. I went over all of this with Gemini of how to design it. And Gemini said that essentially, in order to get this to work, the bill of materials could be around $170, including having a wireless Xbox controller in the box. So yeah, if potentially something could be made, see, looks fine, runs fine. The entry-level console should just be made to where it streams the games, and essentially it's not even a next-gen console, it's just an Xbox that plays all of your games. So most of them it can play on, so I mean, this is streaming through right now, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The other day I played an hour and a half of Cyberpunk, and it was fine. I played through several levels on it. Was driving around the town, shooting levels and everything. It works fine. Anyways, the console just needs to be made as cheap as possible to be able to play the Xbox Series S games, play the Xbox One X games, and even if it, like DLSS and FSR4 have gotten so good with the upscaling and stuff now that you could render the game at 720p and then upscale it to 1440p and actually have less power than the Xbox Series S does, but the game end up looking better in the end, right? So, yeah, that's basically the only thing. All the different designs of this are consumer friendly, right? Be friendly to the consumer. So the little flap on the front that looks like it's the disk drive that would come out for the DVDs or whatever in the original Xbox 360 Slim Elite, that actually is a little flap that opens up, and you can use the storage expansions from the series consoles to be able to expand for the current gen games, and then also just a simple micro SD card slot for all your old games, to where you don't have to jump through hoops, you don't have to get behind the console and plug in wires and all this junk. Just let people use a micro SD for their old games and swap them out for different micro SDs. It's so simple and it's so consumer friendly. Why wouldn't you do it, right? Anyways, that's kind of what it's all about, is make something cheap. It plays all your Xbox games. It's consumer friendly. It's beautiful to look at. It has a cool name instead of some confusing name. And how will people know that it's the new one, though? Well, because it's new. How will they know that it's not the high-end one that can play the games locally? Well, because it's not $800. But it plays all your Xbox games. That's what it's pretty simple. People be trying to make stuff too confusing, but switch to Nintendo Switch. Anyway, you don't have to have the most high-end, like that was just streaming right there, right? And then you look at this is an old school Nintendo Switch, like the old one, and it looks fine. It's not 4K or anything, but I get on here with my kids and we play this, and it looks a lot better than it has any right to look, and it's just fun, right? That's the whole thing, is having a console that you can play and you can have fun with. And in this economy, with the PlayStation 5 Pro costing $900 and the cost of RAM and SSD storage doubling and then doubling again, like Asha said, to where everything's getting ridiculously expensive, you guys just need to make something cheap that people can afford and that they can play their games. And you'll sell a lot of consoles and you'll get a lot of subscribers to Xbox Game Pass. That's my point of view, at least. Seems pretty simple to me, but that's my 2 cents.